Alright, we'll let it play for a second so that I have a moment in editing. You're going. Talk when you want.
Hi Keith and Kelsey, it's Karen Lally and Michael who's doing the filming. I just wanted to do this video-wise in addition to the field notes that I'm sending you with it all written out. It's just some baby having tips. I'm a labor and delivery nurse, I can't help myself. So what I want to, this is all written down for you and it will come with the baby's blanket in the same package. It's going to Siobhan Soap. And with it will be a link to this video so that you can watch it. This is what I do every day, and so I just wanted to pass it along to you. So, in the last few weeks of pregnancy, your uterus is shaped like a balloon. I have a balloon to illustrate. So your uterus, Kelsey, because this is your first baby, is shaped like this. At the bottom of your uterus is where the tie of the balloon is your cervix. Because it's in the last few weeks of pregnancy, your cervix is tucked up in the back like that. So that's to protect the baby. The place is going to open from the weight of the baby and the fluid and the placenta all being on that spot. So part of the work of labor is to bring your cervix forward. Part of it is to thin it out. It goes all the way from feeling like firm and thick like this and open just a little bit, like maybe that much, to being able to open as far as my fingers will come apart.
Explain why you
So that's about 10 centimeters.
Can you explain the feeling when you just put your finger in your nose? Because
I said it feels firm and hard, and then 100% effaced is like two sheets of fabric next to each other. It's that thin. So there's 4 parts to labor, and the first is that you have to thin your cervix out. So it goes from thick like this all the way to 2 sheets of fabric. Thin is what 100% feels like. The other thing is that you have to bring your cervix forward because it's way back here like this in the last few weeks of pregnancy. So part of the work is to bring your cervix more anterior. The next part is for it to open up. It goes from, again, feeling closed up like this, all the way to open about this much, so that I could get as far as my fingers will reach is about 10 centimeters. And the last part is the baby getting into the best position to come out, which is with the baby's head coming, this part coming first. Because you can see if this is your cervix and this is the baby's head, the crown of the baby's head, or this part, is going to make better contact, it's going to be more efficient, and it's just going to work better to get things open. So all 4 of those things have to happen for labor to progress. Lots of times those things happen in the few days before when you're thinking, am I contracting? Should I time those? Oh geez, it's morning and nothing happened.
wait just a moment, because the cat box is going off. You can just, I can edit. What's happening right now, I'll just cut out. There'll be a jump. So, give that a second to just do its thing. It's the magic of TV. All the stuff that you don't want to happen gets cut out. Alright, so that I can edit that more easily, just start back where you were saying about those 4 things need to happen.
All 4 of those things need to happen in order for labor to progress. Your cervix has to thin out, it has to open up, it has to come forward, and the baby has to get into the best position to come out. Looking face down is the best position to come out. Lots of times because of lifestyle changes, in the last 75 years or so, lots of babies are looking up because women don't tend to be upright and forward. So in addition to having knowing what's going to happen for labor to progress, there are some things that you can do in order to help that happen. And most of them are very simple positioning tricks. They're very benign, they don't hurt anything, but they definitely can make a difference, especially if you've been contracting 4 to 5 minutes and kind of in neutral for a little while. They mostly help the baby move along. The first thing that you can do, it sounds really silly, is to do the alphabet with your bum. Like literally A, B, because your cervix, your pelvis is shaped like this. So that if you give it a lot of different diameters by doing the alphabet, because everybody knows the alphabet, then one of those is the one that the baby's looking for to move down. They only need about this much to move. And if you give the baby the space, it will get there sooner. He'll get there, he or she will get there anyway, but if it gets there sooner, hee-haw. My alarm.
Oh,
What?
alright, so you were saying do the alphabet with your bum. I'd say pick up from there, just so I can edit it easier.
So one of the first things that you can do to help the baby move along in positioning is to do the alphabet with your bum. Literally A, B, C. Your pelvis is shaped like this, and everyone knows the alphabet. So it's just a way to give your pelvis a lot of different diameters. And one of them is the one the baby's looking for to move along, to move down. Back and forth is good and side to side is good, but what if Q is what gives the baby the best opportunity to move along? Give him Q. It'll get there anyway, but if it gets there sooner, so much the better. It's like a full garage. If the garage is full, you have to go around and around and around until you can find a spot. If there's a spot, you can go right into it. This is all kind of like simple mechanics, square peg through a round hole. So these are things that, again, the baby will do anyway, but if the baby does it sooner, things progress a little bit sooner. The other thing is that sometimes the babies are a little bit, they have their head tipped to one shoulder or the other, so that if you pick a letter, I would pick K because that will be easy. Then you just, every time you get to K while you're walking around doing the alphabet, you just stomp, stomp, and go down about 3 to 4 inches. No more than that. It encourages the baby to do that. So if the head is tipped to one shoulder or the other, it encourages the baby to bring its head straight on and tuck its chin. That's called asynclitic, and it just encourages the baby to get into that, again, that better position to come out. Because as you can see, this is way more effective than this or this or this or this. So every so often, just stomp, stomp, and go down a little bit. The other thing that you can do is when you're sitting, sit like a football player on a bench. More upright and forward so that the baby can get its back into the sling of your abdomen. We tend not to sit like that in the last 75 years or so, so sometimes you have to remind yourself to do it. The toilet's really good because you tend to sit upright or forward on the toilet. If there's any schmutziness, it doesn't matter. The other thing is that laying. If you're laying, you want to spend some of your time laying very flat on one side or the other. I like the right. I know everybody tells you the left, but first babies tend to go to the right. Bottom leg out straight, top leg way over the top, maybe on maybe 2 pillows. It does 2 things. If you're laying on your hips, does this a little bit. You don't flop like a flounder, but it makes the bottom of your hips give a tiny bit. And also your coccyx at the very bottom of your bum. If you're not always sitting on it, it has opportunity to move a little bit. Again, it doesn't flop like a flounder, but it does give it the opportunity to give a little bit. It's meant to do that. And if you're always sitting on it, it can't go very far. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. If you're breathing, only do it because your body's telling you to. Don't do it because you think you should. It just tires you out if you don't really need to. In through your nose, out through your mouth, long on the exhale. As you're exhaling, try to think about letting go of your fingers and letting go of your feet. Let everything relax if you can. It's easy to say, not so easy to do. That's a good practice exercise too for you and Keith to practice, because if you do that, the guided visualized breathing and relaxing, if you practice a little bit when you actually are laboring, like you pick a spot that either he holds your hand, not the sore one, and not with a ring on it because it'll get squished, or it touches the thigh or your shoulder or anywhere, if you've practiced, you'll be more apt to just kind of go with all that relaxation. It will just happen a little bit more automatically, and it definitely makes a huge difference. The other thing that you can do before you labor or in labor both is practice keeping your jaw really loose. If your mouth is open and your teeth are not clenched, then most likely your cervix is more relaxed. I know that doesn't sound like it should make any sense, but it's true. When it comes to pushing, you want to do your pushing with this part of your abdomen. You're like you're doing a crunch, like you're tightening it up to do a crunch. And again, if you don't let your teeth touch, then you're more apt to use these muscles and not push like this, because that doesn't give you any power. You want, when it does come time to push, take a deep breath, hold it a little bit, and really bear down, just like you're going to move your bowels like you're really constipated. If you can practice using this part of your abdomen, it will really make the pushing much more effective than that or any other way. And again, not letting your teeth get together will kind of prevent you from pushing out through your mouth and closing your throat. Any noises you make in labor are perfect. They're birthing noises. They belong there. I'm just running back through the whole litany. I talked about being hydrated, both of you, because a dry muscle is like, your uterus is a big muscle. If it's dry, it's going to cramp, just like your legs cramp in the summer. Or a football player at camp, or a wrestler, he gets cramps in his arms just because he's dry. So stay hydrated. The breathing, do what you feel is normal to you, but out should be twice as long as in. And you should always try to relax as you breathe out. And only breathe when you feel like you need to. Don't start doing it at the very beginning because you feel like you should, because you get tired and you blow off a lot of water vapor. I'm just trying to think about what else I talk about at work. Rest if you're tired, eat if you're hungry. Your body's very smart. It knows how to get your baby out. Keith is learning how to help you make that happen. And that baby fits you very nicely. By looking at pictures, you're going to do fine. It's just a little hint. It's all written down. It probably will make a little bit more sense if you're looking at it written down, in addition to, this is the first time I've ever filmed this, so it might be a little willy-nilly. But it's a decent shot. And have a lovely birth. I think you guys are going to do great together. I have put the link to this video is in the book, and I'm also going to send it along to Keith as a message on his website. And also have a great time. And I'm sending the baby's blanket too. It complements yours, and it has yarn from the same skeins, which I think is kind of cool, and the same patterns. So I want you to enjoy both. Have a great baby. Godspeed.
Oh, open up your closet, show them the blanket, 'cause it's just folded right there.
Oh.
Oh, you might have to get up to the chair. Yeah, and there's the delay, but I'm just going to hold the
So this is the baby's blanket. Very similar. Whoops, I got it upside down. This is the baby's blanket, very similar to yours. Has the cabling and the tree of life. The green color is the color of the Celtic knots in yours. And this is the field notes that will be coming with it to Siobhan Soap, with all of this written down. It's written freehand, so hopefully you can read it. But I could read Keith's set list, so I bet you can. All right, we will see Keith in August, and we'll be looking out for baby news. Love you both.
I'm just letting it run for a second so I have something to cut off at the end.